All right, everybody, welcome in. Just Sitting Here. I'm Joe Murray. It is a Thursday afternoon. Of course, everyone watching on Facebook Live and also on Twitter. A couple of notes just wanted to throw out there quickly. Just Sitting Here is now on Spotify and YouTube. I don't know how I did it, but it's there, and it's also on YouTube. So any past episode, you can watch the video on YouTube, or you can stream it all, whether you're in your car or whatever, on Spotify. So that's the opening news today. But a lot to get into on this Thursday edition of Just Sitting Here. Jay Glazer had something big to tell us last night. We'll get into that in just a little bit. The dark side of the ring, we were going to feature that today on the show. I didn't bring up the Jimmy Snuka episode. We'll talk about the documentary in general and Snuka's story. The Wednesday Night Wars happened last night. My guest today, Sean Sylver from 98.5 The Sports Hub. We'll bring him in just a minute. Saved by the Bell, possibly coming back with AC Slater and Jesse Spano. That's big news. And we'll certainly wrap up the show with some musings as well. The way to reach the show is you can use the chat feature. I see some people chatting in right off the bat. So you can use that chat feature and be a part of the show, and I'll basically click on your chat, boom, put you right forward. So that's how you join the show. So today, my guest, none other than the Silver Fox himself, Sean Sylver of 98.5 The Sports Hub. Sean, you are let's see here, this would be the 9th. So you are the 8th guest to Just Sitting Here, and there was no like line of number, like nobody was ahead of anybody else for any reason.
Okay.
I think this was more of like, hey, Sean, when can you come on? I have Thursday or Friday available. And and I know it's noon, so some people are still essential workers, right? Like yourself. So, I figured noontime on a Thursday, let's get together with the Silver Fox and shoot the shit. So how's everything going?
Well, this is perfect. I got an Antoine Walker number 8 right here. And yeah, it's quarantine's treating everybody a little bit differently. And, from my perspective, I mean, everybody's got stuff that's either, annoying about it, or maybe the alternative, maybe there's something that's good out of this, maybe being home is helpful to you in some way. I mean, for you, Joe, you got a podcast going. So that's a pretty cool, fun thing to be doing during this time. But I got a 2-year-old running around. My wife's a lawyer. So, she's trying to put in a full day, and I'm trying to get my work done in dribs and drabs. It's, it's a lot. So she's upstairs with him right now, feeding him lunch. So if you hear anything in the background, that's what's going on. I'm down here in the foxhole, my basement.
In the foxhole.
One benefit to being home all this time is I'm not on a train, 2+ hours a day going in and out of Boston. So I put some work into my basement, finishing it off after a couple of years of trying to work on the project. So as you can see, I got my nice ceiling behind me here.
Did you put that together? Did you do that together yourself at the house, or was it like that when you got there?
No, it was all just it was just a regular, basement with concrete walls and floor. So, I put up the stud walls like a couple of winters ago. Then my son was born, so the job kind of slowed down. But now we got actual walls. I did my first drywall job in here. Built a pantry for the family. Got some shelving up here with all my sports books. Got this computer's sitting on an entertainment center that's got a nice little TV with Nintendo and Super NES plugged in.
Ooh.
So it's coming together. It's coming together.
So
no stuff on the walls yet. No belts.
I was gonna say, if you look behind me, Sean.
Yep.
Goodfellas to the right. I think that's my right. Goodfellas. One of my favorite movies.
Yeah.
And then I have the Snow Game right here. I'm in that photo with my friend Chris Carroll, who always joins the show. I'm in this photo. The problem is you can't see my face. But where the field goal post is, that's my seat, and you can see my hoodie, and I have the ticket stub to prove it.
That's awesome.
And it's signed by Adam Vinatieri. Over here are the members of the Traveling Wilburys.
Mm-hmm.
I realized they're like my favorite like super band now. So this is the newest collection right here.
I love it.
And I got them all in there. Roy, they're all hanging around here and they're with us. And then behind my fat head, it's Larry.
We got
Bird,
Larry with the cigar.
Autographed.
Classic.
Boom.
Really? You got the certificate of authenticity with that?
I do.
Nice.
I got a lot of other stuff in here. Maybe I'll do a tour one day. But I got a Biggie Smalls, Rolling Stones, Pink Floyd, Fleetwood Mac, Dr. Dre, Kurt Cobain, Shawshank Redemption. There's a ton of shit down here. So we'll get into the War Room Sunday. So what we do here, Sean?
Yeah.
We've been doing this every day. I kind of wanted to, like, obviously I'm bored. I'm bored as fuck, actually, to be honest with you. And like I'm like that dog that like has been sitting around all day, you know, and then finally I get to talk to somebody and it's like, yes, let's talk. Like, let's do this. So like that's pretty much what this has been. But it's also like I want to get to know who Sean Sylver is. Like I hang out with you at the Sports Hub. We've done many shows together over the year. I know that you work a job for the state, and I know you have a kid and you're married. So it's like, but do I really know Sean? I mean, I think I got a good idea.
We've talked a lot over 5 years of working at that station about a lot of different things. You know, we've had to fill an awful lot of time, some 5-hour shows in the middle of the summer, some weekends where ain't nothing going on. So yeah, I mean, you know, Joe, and I always say this, and no offense to everybody else out there, but I kind of feel like, you know, working at the station, I respected everybody coming in for what they do, you know, kind of just wanted to learn and know my place. But you were probably the first guy, you know, who I felt like treated me as a friend. And, you know, I'm glad we've had that friendship for a bunch of years now. So that's really cool.
So that's what I like. Dude, like everyone's like, oh, it's great on the radio. Like, dude, I'm just a normal guy. I used to work in the car business. I'd listen to sports radio. I'd listen to EI and I'd be like, shit, I can do that. Went to school for it, grinded, worked at many other radio stations. Dude, I paid to be on the air. Like, they weren't going to let a guy like me on the air. You know what I'm saying? So, like, that's how I did it. I started chasing sponsorships, and sometimes I had to pay for it. But I needed those reps. I needed them, and boom, like, it ended up here. So when I meet everyone along the way, it's like, dude, what's your story? What are we doing? So today's a little bit about your story. We'll get to the listener will get to know the real Sean Sylver, who the Silver Fox is. And then there's a ton of, like, stuff that we can get into today. Real quick. So people love to be a part of the show here. So I'll just pull this up real quick, Sean. Yeah. People are checking in. Your boy Brian Antonelli, like Sean.
Oh, Goo.
So Goo, they got a good podcast, Mac and Goo.
Yep.
Marshall Hook. You know that guy?
Yes, I'm aware of Marshall Hook's existence.
Yes, he says hello. Horace Freebird. I wonder if he's a part of the Freebird or part of the Freebird rule. You know that Freebird rule.
Oh,
right?
Yeah. Any one of them can defend the title at any time. Never heard of Horace, though.
I haven't heard of Horace either. Wonder what's up with that.
Maybe he's just a big Skinnerd fan.
Yeah. Joe, excellent production value. Thank you. Thoughts on dyeing your hair platinum, Sean, to get the real Silver Fox going?
You know, the beard's already kind of starting. It's short right now, so you can't really see. But I feel like in a few years I might be on my way, so I can be patient.
Joe, who will be the first wide receiver off the board? I'm doing a draft show next week.
Yeah.
So you're gonna have to wait for that one. Bird, oh yeah.
There he is.
Let's see. Casey checking in. Sylver, you gotta get a Nintendo Switch. There's the Macho Man. You got a Nintendo Switch in there?
No, just NES, Super NES, and the PlayStation 2 because it had the DVD player. Those were the three systems I had when I was younger, and they're the three systems I still have now. I don't do any gaming like now, so
this is the most interaction we've ever had for a show here. Christopher Carroll, I went to the game with Chris.
That's your boy.
This game right back here, we were there, so he can confirm it. Okay, great. Brandon, hello, Brandon. How are you, buddy? The Wilburys are the greatest team of all time, behind Garnett, Pierce, and Allen. We will discuss that today on the show.
Nice.
Ray Allen was a part of Cedric Maxwell's podcast. Is that correct?
Yeah.
I want to credit it where it's.
That's correct.
Where it is. Love this. Perfect for my walk home despite the snow in Lynn. I was in Lynn a little earlier today. I got myself some great pastries in the area. John Hamlet's checking in about the language. We got to get a Hamlet on the program one day. Holy
that
shit.
would be, John, that would be fucking amazing.
Yes. And that's another thing. Swearing allowed.
Yeah.
Okay, this is like what was when you bought an album years ago?
Parental advisory sticker.
Yeah, maybe I should start putting that in the corner. You know what? I'm going to do that.
Just take a Biggie album cover and just put yourself on it.
The horror is that the Freebird rule is in effect. Casey checking in. Thad Moss, yes. And our favorite N64 game.
That's Alex Barth
checking in. I don't have an N64. I mean, I used to love that NWO wrestling game.
There you go. My buddy had Smash Brothers. That was fun.
Awesome. All right. So he is Sean Sylver from 98.5 The Sports Hub. Just sitting here with Joe Murray. I have a lot of stuff I want to talk to Sean Sylver about. So first and foremost, video meetings for work are driving you crazy.
Yeah. So, I mean, I just kind of mentioned it. I was on a video call this morning and it was fine. And a lot of them are fine, but I mean, if you work in an office environment, which I do for my full-time job, it's like, the number one bane of your existence, or at least mine, is meetings. Like that shit could be taken care of in an email. Like, why do we need to get together for an hour to talk about something that, maybe you need about 5 minutes of my input. Maybe you don't need any of my input. I'm just there. I'm just sitting there for the whole meeting. And now it's like, video conferencing is the thing now. So you got all these different mediums. You got Zoom, you got, different webinar software and whatever. And like, now it feels like people are making up more meetings than ever. And it's like, I don't have enough time for these meetings when I'm in the office, much less, there it is. Much less, when I got my 2-year-old kid running around. His birthday is Saturday, by the way. So I am out on video meetings. Again, send me an email, call me. I need to be as efficient as possible as I can around this house right now.
Sean,
it's driving me nuts.
When I read an article today that for people who have to like do court meetings, like I don't know how what your wife's doing, but when people are doing meetings now, they actually have to be dressed. I guess people were doing the meetings. Like not clothed. So I guess there was an official a document that went out saying if you're gonna go to court and do it over some sort of social media, Zoom or something, you now have to be clothed. So at least we've got that part covered. Even though, like, I mean, I don't know, like if it's like, hey, you gotta go do your second probate or whatever thing, go talk to your guy. Like, do I have to? Do I have to wear a shirt? Like, why? I don't want to scare anybody anymore.
No shirt, no shoes, no probation.
That's right, damn it. So Sean, we met at 98.5 The Sports Hub. You were a part of the talent search that CBS put together and that 98.5 adopted. So we had Matt McCarthy on yesterday. He was the inaugural winner. And then the runner-up was Tim McCone, who was also a part of the Sports Hub. Yep. You were on the, I believe, like kind of like American Idol season 2.
Yeah.
Of the talent search.
So that make me Ruben Studdard?
Yeah. So yes, that's actually a good comparison. Where did you do your audition? Like, explain that whole process.
Yeah. So I mean, it came up in 2013. I mean, I think to fairly kind of critique myself just as a person, I think and a lot of people deal with this. I think I doubt myself a lot. And I'm not saying that I have otherworldly talent or something, but usually when I put myself out there for something, it goes my way. And, a lot of times I just have a lot of fear putting myself out there. So 2013, the contest came around. I'd done some radio before then and, had been kind of on the fringes of sports media. And I was like, oh, that would be nice. But, I had 2 jobs, back then, much like I guess I do now. I was just like, I'm busy. I got this, I got that. I don't have time for it. And then, 2014 came around. It was happening for a second time. I was driving in the car with my wife, then my girlfriend, and it was just like, I'd kind of like to do that. She's like, well, I'll go with you to it. So I went down. She lived in Providence at the time. So they actually had an audition down in Providence at Snookers. And nice pool bar kind of place. And I went, Rucker was there running the deal. Read a Sports Hub headline and it was like, all right, well, I did my 30-second bit and there you go. Got a call back shortly after, got an interview, and then wound up in the Final Four from Remy's across from Fenway. So,
real quick, how many people were at the audition?
Probably 30 or 40 people tried out.
Okay, so it's packed.
Yeah, so it was. Yeah, there was a lot, and it was funny to me to hear people. They were like, the World Cup is going on. So a guy steps up and he's like, the World Cup was played today between the United States, and I was like, listen to these people with these voices and. I don't have any formal broadcasting training like you. I mean, I went to college, but I didn't go to college for journalism or broadcasting or anything like that. I just really loved radio, had done some radio on really small stations and like sports and didn't really expect anything out of it. But it happened. It was totally cool.
And then you got the tryout at Remy's, I believe.
Ryan Johnston was my co-host.
I remember this because I tried to go. I tried to go there. I don't know if it was like parking and something happened in the area that night. I couldn't go. I ended up.
They heard that it was me, and sold it out.
But I tried to go. And I ended up at Bar Louie, and I don't know. Like that was my night there. But then you won the contest.
Yeah.
And then where were they like, all right, great, you're going to get like a shift on the weekend at the Sports Hub? Was that it?
Yeah, I mean, and I think I remember McCarthy won and he got a show like the week after. Right? I forget. Was it with you? He was with somebody. He was paired with somebody. And then, I mean, I think all of us kind of learned like McCarthy again, Ithaca had, some play-by-play training and, had done a lot of work in radio. We all kind of had to learn the ropes. So I started training, at night on Jones' show with Keefe and, Deering, Jeremy Conley, just kind of setting me up, helped me read a Sports Hub headline. And, the first couple of shows I did were like, hey, don't talk, just do the headline.
Yes.
And, so that went on for a little while and I completely understood. I mean, like where I came from, so I went to Stonehill College. I've lived my entire life in Mass. I've spent my whole life in a 75-mile area. Grew up on the Cape. And so when I was at Stonehill, I was at like an 100-watt station, that broadcast to Brockton, Easton, Stoughton. And like my buddy had an internship in Canton. Yeah. And he would drive there and it would give out on the way. So it's like, I'm losing you. Yeah. But
I know the feeling.
Yeah. It had like a rotary phone on the wall that would like the light would flash, but you couldn't put the callers on the air. So like me and my buddy Jay were doing the show and I'd be on the phone taking the call and I'd relay the message over to Jay, who was on the mic and on the board. So you're familiar with that. And then when I was up in Medford after college, living with a bunch of the same friends, I learned that Tufts, you didn't have to be a student to be on their station. And that was right up the street from where I lived. I was taking some graduate classes. A couple of buddies got involved and like, we did some crazy stuff. We met, the Brick, who's a big wagering fanatic.
Yes.
So we just messed around. Like one night I was playing poker with some buddies. I called up the radio station just thinking I'd crack on some people doing impressions. And it wound up that they were like down for it. They went with the rib and the next week they figured out who we were and they called into our sports radio show on 91.5. And we did like an in-studio wrestling match. We used to bring beer to the studio and just get sloshed on the air. Like it was, but we also kind of took it seriously after a while and started getting some guests on. And it was kind of like, hey, this radio thing can be kind of fun. I wonder if this could be something that I pursue. And so over time, I won that contest. I wound up at 98.5, which is a huge far cry from those other places I was talking about. And, eventually it was like, I met guys like you and, Hardy and people on the weekends who made me feel comfortable and just, could kind of do my thing. And I did get to talk and I did get to kind of, just be a part of the fun. It's been great.
So a couple of things you mentioned here. And for people who do listen on 98.5, the Sports Hub, I tell the story. This is kind of my story I've been telling for a while now is, I used to do a show called The Sports Blast, and it was about sports, but really pop culture.
Yeah.
And that's, I had sports guys with me. So when it came to the pop culture stuff, it was kind of just me, like being a wild man, and just Joe going on his rants or whatever. And then when I got to the sports hub, it was like, I was all sports. You know how they told you just stick to the headlines? To me, it was like stick to sports.
Yeah.
Don't do anything else. And it like kind of didn't work for me. Like nobody liked me. I thought I knew like everything about sports because I don't know. I mean, I feel like I know my shit. I played sports or whatever. But it's not what people like. They like interesting stories. They like being, off track. They like, whoa, where'd that come from? Or some sort of weird reference. So when we started doing shows together, they throw us on for 5 hours at night. And so for 5 hours for me is like the Joe show for 5 hours. What's going to happen tonight? So you start with an opening take. You do a whole rundown. This is what we're going to do tonight. And then, I don't know, third segment, it's like, dude, we got Major League 2 on right now, man. Like, and the show just goes off the rails, and like, but the thing is that was exciting. Like, I think people were listening because it was sports related, but at the same time, it's like, where are these guys going? You know what I mean? And then like, we started singing songs and you started knowing the songs and like, holy shit, let's just keep doing this and that. But like, when we first started, it was Deflategate. And
oh God.
Like, dude, I was like, can you please ask the future Mrs. Sylver what this means? Because, I got yelled at on the air by Josh Deering for reading the shit that was coming out because I didn't know what the hell I was talking about.
Yeah.
And here we are trying to give like instant information about what's going on with Tom Brady. I don't know shit. I don't know what any of these judicial terms mean, or Ruth Bader Ginsburg is coming in now. I'm like, dude, what are we doing here? It was hard, dude. Those were the hardest days. Those were like the hardest shows of my life because I didn't want to get yelled at for reading and not knowing what the hell was going on.
Yeah.
But once that shit was over with, it was like, yes, let's party. Like, let's just start talking about whatever, man. Like, this happened today, and we got a musing's a good one, And what other people don't realize about us, Sean, is like, you worked and then took the train in or had to battle the traffic, and the same thing with me.
Yeah.
So we're doing our 9 to 5 job, getting off the air, and then going on either at 6 or 7 o'clock. And it was like a release. It was like, oh, not at the studio anymore. Like, not at work anymore. At the studio, like, we can be ourselves for 5 hours. You know what I mean? Have some fun with it. And
like, you hit 9:30, 10 o'clock. I mean, even earlier than that, but 9:30, 10 o'clock, you're starting to get into Dong Report territory, Game of Joe territory, things like that. And you're exhausted and you're a little loopy. Yeah. And at that point, you just kind of throw away your inhibitions and, whatever, not your professionalism necessarily, but it was kind of okay. Like, it was hard for that first year doing Deflategate, like, all the time.
And to your point, like, doing different shit, it's kind of like a bit, right? You try the bit. If it doesn't work, we tried it. It was funny. You own it. If it's if it's good, it's like, dude, we can do this again. Like, let's try this again. So in radio, like, people, if you got to take chances, man. Like, I know they don't always work. Like, not everyone loves me. I'll tell you, not everyone loves me, and that's fine. I think I'm doing my job if that's the case. But at the same time, I'm gonna have fun. Like, if you want insight and like, these guys who do it the right way, and this is how it was in my day. Like, I'm not your guy.
Hey, man, like, I don't know. I think I just appreciate the Joe Murray experience. You're not trying to put on, and like, I respect people who, grind it out doing whatever shtick works for them. I mean, there's a lot of people in this business who've, gotten very successful off of the shtick, but I can't do anything but just be authentic. I mean, and maybe I'm not a household name necessarily. Like, I like the fact that, just give you props for a second. Like, I like the fact that you, with the over under stuff, like, that's just a part of you. And you had talked for a long time about, hey, I would love to get a gambling show going, or a podcast or something like that. I gotta get the right, like, format. I got to get the right co-host, stuff like that. And you materialized it, and it's become like a part of, people are drawn to like Joe Murray because like that's just a thing that you've always been. Like you've been a guy who's into wagering, you got some insight, and you just love like talking about it, sharing it, etc. And now that's like a big thing.
Yeah,
so
and dude, it was just
being yourself.
It was just an idea, like, hey, we want to do this, and then all of a sudden it was like, well, it might become legal. But like, dude, the one thing with that people don't get is like, just like how we showed up after work, like we were trying to find a studio to do these in. Yeah. Like it was like, dude, when there's Bruins games and Celtics games on and a live show, and like it's like, where do we even do that? It was a lot. But the only thing I'll say, and this isn't a Barry Horowitz pat on the back or anything like that. It's just that if you want to do something, just do it. And like with you, like one thing I think you're very good at, and we're putting each other over here, but you like to write. That's kind of like your thing, and you have the opportunity at 98.5 The Sports Hub to write. Mm-hmm. So you might only get your headlines, third chair, or working a Celtics game or whatever to get those reps. But like, if you can put like your thoughts to paper, you're very good at that. And and then when you get the opportunity to be on the air, you can see your personality and everything to that degree.
Yeah, like I mean, I love working the Celtics games, doing the post game now and taking calls and hearing from JP in North Providence, and that just like that's a childhood dream. Like realized, man, I grew up listening to Celtics broadcasts, as I'm sure you did, and the post game shows thereafter, and just being a part of something like that's been a lot of fun. And some of my best memories at the Hub come out of that, working a lot of games, with Jeremy. He doesn't really do the Celtics games anymore. Now it's more like Mason, sometimes Kevin. But like, I remember when the Bridgie Celtics snapped the Warriors home court winning streak. It was like at 1:30 in the morning. I forget exactly if it was like Jeremy or Mason or Lifshatz, some combination. Like 2 out of those 3 guys were there that night. We were just going like ape shit, just so excited about that. The Pierce's last game at the Garden being on the same day as the Super Bowl, like that was a fun day at the Sports Hub station. Like
I've called in a couple of times, Joey and Hyde Park.
I've got the video that Nikki took of you calling in your car.
That was her idea. I was at a Friendly's, which I don't know if they're still around anymore, but I was there, and it was like, dude, you should call in, and I'm like, you know what, I am. Forget it. And you were talking about what band?
Matchbox 20.
Matchbox 20.
I want to push you around, yeah. And I was like, wait a minute. I know this voice.
You were so thrown off. You
guy calls up talking about Terry Rozier.
The word was bewildered. The word that you used was bewildered, but that's the stuff you can do at night on the radio. We'll get back to all that, all the get to know Sean Sylver stuff, because I know there's some other stories he has there. Man. But so you're a big wrestling fan. You like go way back with wrestling. Obviously some sad news today, and this is kind of before we came on the air, maybe about an hour or so before we came on, but it was announced that Howard Finkel passed away today, 69 years old. He was with the company since 1975. Like there's a lot of Fink stuff that I remember. And I'm just putting this up in the background for anybody who doesn't, you got to know who that guy is at one point. But yeah, Howard Finkel passed away today. I know he was dealing with some health issues, for a while now, but dude, he was the voice. Oh, like the voice, like ladies and gentlemen,
coming down the aisle.
Exactly. Like everybody. And new.
Yes. And new. And if you watch, wrestling shows, whether it's Wrestling Challenge or Wrestling Superstars on a Saturday morning, he would always do like the live event promos. So he would be like, this week, the WWF comes to Corpus Christi, Texas. Yes. Featured on the show, George the Animal Steel, Superfly Jimmy Snuka, Jim Powers. And it's like, and then you're like me, and you're on the Cape, which basically is like living in Canada compared to Boston. And my family never made it over the bridge. But like, the Cape Cod Melody Tent next week, featured one of the head shrinkers, the Smoking Guns, Virgil. It's just like, Fink would get you hyped up. So,
but if you remember though, there was like he was in some storylines
Yeah, so
Remember,
some pretty body storylines from the
well,
Attitude Era for sure.
well, one was there was the shaved head match.
Mm-hmm.
They made him shave his head or whatever, and then there was
He
one
came
where
back wearing a toupee, right?
that's right, and then Jericho one time made him go like fight the other ring announcer to get his job back. Like that was one of them. I'm trying to think of what else. He was in some other.
He was in like a tuxedo match, I think, against like I don't know. Maybe it was with the other ring announcer. Maybe it was Pat Patterson. It was something ridiculous. I mean, I kind of like brown out on those years of WWE. I mean, the real stuff that like crystallizes for me is like '89 when I started watching to like the mid '90s, and then it kind of goes away, and then it kind of comes back, and then like I got back in like as an adult. And now with the network, you can go back and watch stuff. So I mainly just watch stuff from like 80s and 90s. I mean, which, who wouldn't? But the Fink he's prominent in all that. I remember CM Punk back in 2011. Remember when Del Rio had his personal ring announcer? Yes. Was it Roberto Rodriguez?
Yep.
And CM Punk had the Fink introduce him. It was great. I think I was talking to somebody on Twitter about that this morning and just like posted that video. It's like, oh my gosh, it sends chills. The voice of the Fink, because you're a kid, you're playing with your wrestling ring, and they're they coming, the rubber wrestler guys coming down the ring, and you're doing the voice. You're just doing that all day, and that was the Fink. He was a big part of all of our childhoods.
Finkus Maximus is no longer with us.
Was that WrestleMania 9 when they had the Roman theme?
That's right. There you go. You remember?
Yeah.
So what a shitty week for WWE, man. The XFL folds. They have to go bankrupt. They laid off like 35 people yesterday.
That was bonkers. Like a lot of names that, to me, Joe, I mean, it's like WWE did this thing a few years ago, and I mean, they talk about this on Inside the Ropes, and like they just went out and bought up talent from other organizations because they didn't want signing. They want them signing somewhere else. So guys like, bringing in Gallows and Anderson, they were one of the biggest tag teams in the world. Yeah. They never got used properly in WWE.
Yeah, and they weren't terrible with AJ Styles. It was just they could have been. EC3 was the biggest waste.
It was a waste.
Eric Rowan, I think, could he doesn't have a personality, but like maybe he can be a part of whatever angle AEW is doing now.
Right, right. Like a lot of these guys are good candidates to succeed elsewhere. I mean, the one that jumps out the stage to me is Rusev.
Oh, God, yes.
Like he has shown. Did you see the what the heck is that thing? Like Turnbuckle Championship Wrestling or whatever those. So like he could do a comedic character. He could be a bad guy, monster heel. He could do whatever he wants. He doesn't have Lana anymore because clearly she's still with the company. They probably see her as some sort of an asset for some reason. But there's a guy that could go anywhere and do whatever he wants.
And I'm sure there's some other guys like Heath Slater was with them for 16 years.
Oh yeah.
I know he was kind of a mid-card wrestler, but if you look at that 3-man band now, it's like, geez, he's the only one without the championship. You know what I mean? And I just think so. Here's where I'm going with it. WWE was deemed essential. This week or whatever.
That was weird.
No, it's weird. It's weird, but then all of a sudden you lay off 35 people. And it's to save what? All right, they saved $50 million this year, so it's $4 million a month. I'm not good with math, but
well, you just had to declare the XFL bankrupt. I mean, that was clearly another let's use a cliche. That was a Hail Mary pass by Vince McMahon bringing up this football league again, spending a lot of money on that. And it wasn't ever really able to materialize because of COVID-19. So he's got to make cuts in his other business ventures. I mean, this guy's still loaded, but he's obviously looking at his bottom line. And unfortunately, these performers, like I look at someone like a Deonna Purrazzo, like she's a great indie wrestler. Never really got a chance to shine like on main WWF TV. She was down in NXT for most of the time. So like, there's someone who probably never got like a big deal with WWF. A lot of these guys were getting paid. Like a couple $100,000, $500,000.
Goldberg got $4 million just to go to damn Saudi Arabia.
Yeah, but I mean, like, think about a Hawkins and a Ryder, and I got to shout their wrestling figure podcast, Zack Ryder and Kurt Hawkins. That's fun. But
that's not going anywhere. They own that. So
yeah. So I mean, like, what do you think those guys are making? Like 250, 500? You know, like they're fine. But you know, some of these folks clearly weren't making that, and got cut. So just I don't know. There's more wrestling now. There's more places for these people to go and get visibility. Of course, assuming that we get out of this whole pandemic thing. But there's places for them to go and shine and show their abilities.
So you're an old school wrestling guy.
Yeah.
The Macho Man. We know that you can do a fantastic Macho Man. Probably the best. It was so good that you were a part of the Czarface meets Ghostface album opening song. As you can see right here, I have the imaging up.
Yep.
I'm trying to get better with this program here. I'm sure there's a way I can block us out and whatever. I'm trying to do the best I can here. Man. But where did the Macho Man fascination come from?
Well, I mean, so I mentioned that I started watching wrestling in '89, and it was kind of like right after the Mega Powers had exploded. So Macho Man's a bad guy, and I'm like, 7. And, he's just my cousins who are older, who kind of got me into wrestling were telling me that Macho Man had been a good guy at one point. I was just like, oh, this guy's just running around being a jackass. He's smashing the scepter on the Ultimate Warrior's face, so Sergeant Slaughter wins the title at the Royal Rumble. Like he's picking on Dusty Rhodes. There's just all these things happening here. And then when Macho Man, like he's obviously good in the ring, his promos were fascinating. And then, he loses the retirement match, gets back together with Miss Elizabeth, and then it's okay to like the Macho Man. And WWE, particularly back in that day, they didn't really play into their history. It was like if a guy was a bad guy, they weren't telling you that he used to be a good guy. But once Macho Man and Elizabeth hooked back up, they were just like, oh, yeah, Macho Man's one of the most decorated champions. He was a good guy. And I really started getting back, I'd go to the video store and get the tapes. WrestleMania 4, stuff like that. So he became my favorite guy, and I kind of got the backstory on the Macho Man's career and whatever. And I mean, which one of us doesn't sit around when you're drunk and just do impressions of celebrities? So,
oh my Undertaker! Oh, they're gonna get you, Kane! I love Paul Bearer.
Exactly. So I mean, I would do all that stuff just like all of us do. Macho Man was probably one of my better ones. I did him for Halloween, but my Halloween deal was I would be the guy, but I would stay in character, and it would annoy the shit out of people. So I was Harry Carey one year and just did hi, who's got candy corn? Just, the whole night, just pissing people off. So Macho Man was pretty well received.
It was well received on the Sports Hub. The first thing I heard it one day, and I'm like, this is the greatest thing I've ever heard in my life.
So Troop used to want to bring it out on the weekends, and that was when he was working with Hardy, and Hardy was just like, no, please. But I would just, I'd throw in something here or there, and Troop told me that his dog was named Randy the Macho Dog, so he was a fan.
Yep. Because he was a baseball player.
Yeah, exactly, and the Cardinals organization.
That's right.
Time, among others, but So yeah, what was it? The Crush the Crew contest comes up on Toucher and Rich, and I think the prize was you get to do wrestling trivia on the air against Sarge. I forget what the actual prize was. Was it tickets? Something?
I actually know. Oh, it was a booth with Andy Wong.
Okay, all right. Yeah. Pretty good prize, I gotta say. As someone who's experienced that, pretty darn good prize. Shout to Andy. So I knew as someone who was employed by the station, I wasn't going to win this contest. So I just figured I'd do a video for fun, crack on Sarge a little bit. He's a good dude. He could take it, and do the Macho Man. And the next thing I know, I get the video goes viral. I get this DM from Rich, and he's like, hey, Esoteric wants your contact information. Is it okay if I give it to him? But I was just like, yeah. So I get this call from Esoteric, and he's like, hey, I want Macho Man on the new Czarface album with Ghostface Killer. And he's like, just write something up. You could either do like a promo where you're like, being like putting us over. You could do like this promo where you're like fighting against us, like whatever you want to do. So I just wrote something up, recorded it down here in the basement, sent the MP3 over, and didn't hear anything for a couple of months. And then all of a sudden I get an email, and it's esoteric. He's like, "Hey, what's your home address? I want to send you the album." So I get a signed copy in the mail. Czarface meets Ghostface, and you're a hip hop guy, from way back. I always wanted to be, I used to do the freestyle rapping thing, and online, recording raps and stuff, back in the day. So I found myself on a hip hop album in 2019. It was pretty cool,
dude. Like, I don't know if you've made. I mean, I think you've made it, dude. I think you've made it once you made it on there. And dude, like, who knows? Like, the Macho Man thing could live on. It could be, maybe they need like a cartoon series. And you could be like the voice.
Hey man, I know. I think the genius Leaping Lanny Poffo has got control over the rights to Macho Man right now. So if he wants to hit me up, there's also a comedian out there who's really good at it. What's that guy? Was he a guest on TNR? I feel like there's a comedian out there who's got a really good Macho Man.
Who is it?
I don't want to. Come on, stupid computer. I don't want to.
Google it.
This guy. Yeah, right. Try to get the Chromebook working over here.
I think it was Dan Sauter.
Yeah, Dan Sauter. Really good Macho Man. Like he's a little more guttural than mine. Mine's kind of like.
I was in studio when he did it, and yours is better.
Really?
He did it next to me, and I was like, "Nah, his is okay."
I think his is really good.
No, yours is better.
Okay.
This isn't me putting you over. This is.
Listen to me, damn son. This is me, the Macho Man, coming to you from the basement. If you ever want to go one-on-one, bring it. Yeah.
I think we have a challenge.
A macho off. What a perfect thing to do when we're all cooped up in our houses.
I'm going to tweet him.
Let's do it.
This segment and see if he responds back to you. What do you think?
Probably be like, who's this canary out here?
I mean, I don't know.
Who the hell is Sean Sylver?
I mean, shit, if we can get the Just Sittin' Here podcast going viral early on, I'm down. I'll host it. I'll host it. I got a way that I can be the moderator, and it can be you versus him. Maybe you guys can do raps in Macho Man voices.
Like Be a Man, that unfortunate CD that Macho Man put out. The last 10 years of Macho Man's life were rather uneven. He was pretty great up until his career ended, and then it was a bit uneven. But
so yes, it's Dan Sauter. If I somehow have any editing skills, I'm gonna do that. Send it to him on Twitter, and then hopefully I can host Just Sittin' Here Macho Man battle rap between Sean Sylver and Dan Sauter. So I think I'm going to try that.
Sauter, I've got you for 3 minutes. 3 minutes of playtime. Yeah. Not going nowhere.
Bones. I love the SpiderMan movie. Yeah. That's like one of my favorite like Macho Man's.
They all how they like rebooted the SpiderMan franchise with, and I don't know. I mean, like Mac. I listen to Mac and Goo a lot. Obviously, they're my guys. But like with comic book movies and stuff, I just can't keep pace. It's just like give me the Tobey Maguire Spider-Man. I mean, Macho Man is there. Like I'm cool with it.
I'll even take the Nickelback. Right? A hero can save us. Not gonna stand here wait. Oh man, they sucked.
That song, man, was a hit that year. That was a big hit.
It was a huge hit.
Josie Scott,
man. Oh yeah, that's right. He was from the band Saliva. Do you know what their song was like? In one moment, I'm going all the way. I make my poetry every day. How's the here I am?
Saliva had a lot of. They had a song.
They had a song. They want to take you down, but your soul cannot be found.
They had Click Click Boom.
Oh yeah, Click Click Boom was one of theirs.
And they used to play that song, "Ladies and Gentlemen" at Bruins games.
That's right.
Yeah. No, Saliva.
Is Josie Scott still with us?
Doesn't Fred have a Josie Scott story?
I'll text him
about cookies. That's a good story.
Imagine if I just, hey Fred, here's a link. Can you join the show real quick to tell us a Josie Scott story?
Seriously, please.
Because I could do that. I just don't know if he's awake or watching or cares. So that's I don't know. Maybe we'll try that someday.
Find out.
But all right, so we already got our first controversy on the show. A Macho Man off.
Macho off.
A macho off.
We're gonna hit Mach 3 with a macho off.
We got a macho off early on in this. He's Sean Sylver, 98.5 The Sports. He told this story about how he got on. I want to get into like sports stuff and some other shit in a minute here. Were you born down the Cape? Is that where you're from?
Well, technically, I was born in Attleboro. If you want to get technical about it, I was adopted when I was 11 days old. So yeah, my parents received me in down on Cape Cod, and that's where it came up. So Dennis, Massachusetts, very small town, quiet town when it's not summertime. And then, when it's summertime, it swells to 4 times the population and you can't go anywhere.
I'm one of them.
It's yes. Thank you, Joe, for supporting local business.
I do. The cream and cone. I mean, and there's been some other establishments.
That's where I had my first ice cream, the cream and cone. The original cream and cone, not the current one. Different ownership.
But a nice little fried clam plate with an ice cream. Oh, it's nothing better.
It's all right, man. No, my uncle Bruce was a commercial fisherman. Used to bring just coolers full of stuff, and then my mother would go wild. I remember going like digging for clams with my grandparents, and then we'd bring all the stuff down to like my grandparents' basement, and you had like you turn the clams and make the fritters and all that. Like those were good times. So. Murray's Cup. Oh, wow.
Is that Lord Murray's Cup in the background? Yes, it is. Lord Murray's Cup. It was not. I left it there for everyone to sign. And then in Game 7, I don't know if you were with me. Were you there that night? I was there.
I was on the air for Game 6.
Okay.
So I did the post game after Game 6, and then Game 7 straight up sucked.
So I did post game after Game 7, and when I came in, the night show threw Lord Murray's Cup in the trash. It was in the trash. And it was like everyone was blaming me. Because somebody who runs the duck boats said, hey, if the Bruins win, I'm going to get you on a duck boat. Here's my phone number. So if the Bruins won that Game 7, Lord Murray's Cup was going on the duck boat.
See, the thing is, Lord Murray's Cup had its genesis on the weekends and at night. The kind of the blind spots of 98.5 where fewer people are listening, and and crazy things happen. And like the weekend crew signed it, the night crew signed it, but for whatever reason, the people who are on during the day were slow to embrace.
I don't know. Nobody
the legend of Lord Murray's Cup. And then all of a sudden, it was like Lord Murray's Cup is hype. We're going to have this thing on a duck boat. We're talking about it all the time. And it was just it's like when you have a band that you like, and it's your band, but then everybody else gets onto the band, and it's like no longer fun anymore. So, and then the Bruins lose the damn series. That was a fun spring. That was a fun spring, and it ended with a thud.
Imagine if they won, and then what's going on in the
world? You would have been on a duck boat, Joe.
No shit. That thing would have went all summer long, dude.
Oh my god.
I might have brought that down to Dennis. I probably would have just went straight from downtown, with my moon roof in my car, all the way down Route 3 to the Cape. With
taken you a while with the traffic, but you would have made it.
But yeah, so I brought it home. It's signed by a bunch of people.
Yeah, you gotta. I mean, there's actual value to Lord Murray's cup. Ted Johnson's signature on there. There's an actual celebrity who's on that cup.
Three-time Super Bowl champion.
There you go. That's how it's signed. 3x Super Bowl champ.
if you could read it through the tinfoil there. So real quick, Sean, have you caught any of these Dark Side of the Ring shows that have been on Viceland at all?
So I mean, I keep meaning to, but like in terms of watching it live, I never get around to it. I feel like I will at some point. I caught a few of them last year. Obviously, I watched the Macho Man one. I think the thing is, like, I didn't want to watch the Benoit one. It just, I feel like it just would have bummed me out too much. I mean, murder suicides, particularly involving children, not really.
So here's the deal, right?
Yeah.
So I think they did a fantastic job.
Oh yeah.
Dude, I don't want to spoil it for you. They did a great job. How you're portraying it is what I was thinking.
Yeah.
Oh shit, what am I getting myself into here? Like, do I really want to go down this rabbit hole? How is this going to make WWE look like? Yeah. Dude, the guy who comes off the best is Chris Jericho, who's narrating the whole entire every single episode. I don't want to spoil it, but I think it's worth watching. It brings you back to like that era of the Eddie Guerrero, Chris Benoit, the beginning of CM Punk, really, if you think about it.
Yep.
John Cena, there's a lot of stuff there. I think it's very good. So this season they opened up with parts 1 and 2 of Benoit.
Yep.
And then they had one on New Jack. And New Jack was in ECW. You remember who he is? Well,
crazy motherfucker.
There was an incident in Revere, and I guess like somebody couldn't make the match, so there was like some like dude who was like a local wrestler.
Wait, this thing happened in Revere?
Dude, it happened.
I didn't know that was local.
Yes.
Was it the mass transit thing or whatever?
Mass transit. He was underage, wow. 17, and New Jack just whooped on him. I don't want to spoil it.
Yeah.
But yeah, like that happened in Revere, and they brought in like 2 old Revere like security guards. Like, yeah, I was there that night, kid. And that New Jack, that was a crazy bugger. Like it was actually really funny.
Oh man.
And then last night, I just wanted to bring up was the Jimmy Snuka.
So this is one I definitely, I didn't have a super amount of interest in New Jack, but I definitely want to see Snuka. I want to see Dino Bravo. But the Superfly thing, that's like, that people have spoken about that for years. It just an absolutely crazy situation. And the fact that it got swept under the rug, it's nuts.
So the Snuka one, it was the worst one of the year.
Really?
I mean,
do you think it? Like, was it
everything we already knew?
Was it like a lack of access? Just like WWE's like shutting their guys up, so they're not going to talk about it. So
nobody from WWE is involved.
Of course.
Vince comes off looking like a scumbag. Of course.
Well, yeah.
I mean, dude, it was a bad week. Like a really bad week for wrestling. The XFL, like that stuff happened on Tuesday. The layoffs happened.
Yeah.
Fink goes down today.
Fink.
Like. It's just, and then let's not forget the WrestleMania wasn't the way everyone wanted it to be.
Yeah, I didn't watch it. I just kind of read the summary online. I think that's the first year I haven't watched WrestleMania in probably like 15 years. I mean, it's people say they got nothing going on, and like
I did.
I assume this is Lord Murray's Cup.
Yes, I did.
Oh, it's perfectly, the materials, really lend themselves to such an endeavor. So
some buffering issues. Go over to Facebook Live if you get any if you get any issues.
No, this is
the Snuka episode was a letdown. Dino Bravo next week.
That's a situation that's shady as shit. I'm not sure like how much you've read up on that, Joe, but like, every wrestler's career has its end eventually, unless you're the Undertaker or Ric Flair. But once Dino Bravo was out of the big time, like he got into some real deep shit, illegal, Canadian mafia business, and he got ganked. He got God, man. Yeah. not good.
So that's next week, but yeah. I don't know if this is like a Jericho angle to like shit on WWE.
But but Jericho wasn't involved in last year's really. So I mean,
No.
I think it's just these guys who produce the series, they're telling true stories from a very shady world. Particularly like in the past. I mean, it's obviously shit still goes down in every industry, whether it's wrestling or sports media or government or whatever. But the WWE is obviously a lot different from what it used to be, and you just got this ample amount of crazy ass stories. And they do other stuff too. They're going to hit on the Von Erichs.
That
there's
was
been
awesome.
Bruiser Brody came up. Last
Bruiser
year.
Brody was last year was like hit after hit after hit after hit. This and so I'm interested for next week. There's one on Owen Hart in a couple of weeks.
No, another tough
one.
watch.
And again, you have some downtime right now, Sean. I'd suggest WWE Network. Stone Cold did a podcast with Ric Flair this week.
Is this a Broken Skull session?
Yep,
All right.
and it's brand new, so it just came out this week. He did one with The Undertaker. If you want to check that out, that was very good.
Yeah, I only read about that. I spent a lot of like train time catching up on just reading up on the wrestling that's going on.
Now you're not getting your train time.
Well, now I'm not getting my train time, but I'm doing some home improvement, working in the basement, chasing Will the Thrill around the house. Will has learned how to kick out of a pin. So, I'll put a British Bulldog power slam on him or an Undertaker tombstone. Obviously, got to protect the head. Don't want any injuries. Go down, hook the leg, go for the pin, 1, 2, and then Will goes kick out, and kicks out of the pin.
So is this Will the Thrill versus the
Golden Child?
The Golden Child. Can you tell everyone the story of the Golden Child?
Okay, so back in 2002, I was in college, and there was this regional promotion known as American Championship Wrestling. They did a show at Stonehill College, which is where I went. It was on like the weekend before Thanksgiving or something like that. And we were gonna put a new roof on my parents' house that weekend. And I was like, hey, sorry, there's this wrestling show and there's an opportunity for me here. Can we do the roof some other time? So basically they did a campus-wide like Tough Enough promotion to contest to promote the show. And they picked 6 contestants from the student body to be in a match. So it was like Survivor Series style elimination match. They, my buddy Patrick, who Patrick OConnor, who he worked with actually, he was
mention the podcast in a minute. But
he was in this match as well. And so my gimmick was the Golden Child, who he was kind of like a hybrid of the Macho Man and like Bill Walton. He, once was great, but it had like 30 knee surgeries and was just looking for one more shot at the big time. So there he is. So the Golden Child, I had like the do-rag, I had like my own belt. I was just whatever. I was 19, 20 years old. So the weekend of, they trained us on like how to take bumps. They gave us like a script to follow, for who was going to get eliminated where. And like Captain Lou Albano was one of the characters in the promotion. So like when we were getting trained, he came down and like cheered us on, gave us a few words. It was kind of cool to meet, a legend like Captain Lou. And then that night we had the match, and my team won. I got taken out. There was some illegal interference. And after the match, Captain Lou came up to me and asked if I got hurt. And I was like, what are you talking about? And he's like, you took a really bad bump there. And I was like, yeah, I was just trying to sell it. And he's like, well, it was really convincing. I was like, all right, nice. So the Golden Child retired 1-0. And technically I was the co-main event of a professional wrestling card. The other match was actually Chris Candido,
yes,
who you might remember as Skip. He was in a match with Sonny at ringside. That was the actual main event. They faced some dude for like the whatever championship belt they had for that promotion. But that was my one time in a real wrestling ring.
Wow. So we used to do back in the day in Rozzy. We used to get moonwalks. Those jumping things or whatever. And
they had them in like the basketball magazines. They'd advertise them.
We had a wrestling tournament in the backyard, and I kicked everyone's ass.
With I assume the finishing move was the Yokozuna splash. Correct.
And I would do the doom, boom. And you would think that a large man might not be able to get around well in one of those moonwalks. It worked pretty well for me.
Well, Joe, I mean, you're a big dude, but you're kind of like the big boss man, or
Yes.
like a guy who's very agile. Tremendous athletic talent. So I'm sure you handle yourself in the ring very well.
Very agile, right? Agile. Yes, I have a little bit of a little bit of that, but yes, that was one of the things we used to do back in the day. Was like wrestling tournaments. It was like really fun. Like
hell yeah.
And like growing up, dude, like we used to just get pay-per-views all the time.
Oh, that was that was the deal. Like I was the youngest of how many? I got to count them out right here. I got youngest of 6 cousins, all growing up on the same block, and we used to do the pay-per-views. We had the Dennis Wrestling Federation. I mean, every kid had this stuff, but that's where I perfected my Macho Man elbow, jumping off the second rail of the split rail fence. But I was the youngest out of that group, so I got beat on. I had to take all the moves. They'd keep me in the sharpshooter for 5 to 7 minutes, until I couldn't breathe. Figure 4 leg locks, just all the aerial moves. Like, just take the little skinny kid and throw him around a little bit. But man,
it's still going strong though, man.
It's wild.
Like everyone still watches, and it's fun to talk about. I love going to all the events. I hope SummerSlam can happen.
Last night was going to be AEW at Agganis Arena, and my buddy Ming had gotten us really good seats. I was really psyched for that. I suppose if the booking had gone the way it was, we would have seen, that Jake Hager John Moxley match at Agganis Arena. But that kind of sucks. But we all got to take our lumps right now and do what's best. But yeah, like going to wrestling shows around Boston. Like I remember once I met Roddy Piper down at the Quincy Armory. I met the Hitman at an ROH show at the Case Gymnasium at BU. And I think on that card was this is in probably 08 or 09. I think on that card was Daniel Bryan.
Wow.
Kevin Steen, aka Kevin Owens. There he is. Sami Zayn, back then known as El Generico, and there was somebody else who made it to WWE. Why am I blanking? Definitely Nigel McGuinness, who had a stint in TNA as well.
That's right.
Was a great indie wrestler, but all those guys in a freaking like show with like 300 people. I mean, just indie wrestling's great. And of course, got to meet the Hitman that night. I met Mick Foley over at Kowloon a number of years back. Sarge took me to meet Brutus the Barber last year at the Kowloon. We met Jake the Snake last fall up at Riverwalk Brewing in Newburyport. There it is, the Yokozuna splash.
I got the Barber Hedges right here too.
You got the shears
signed and autographed.
Where'd you pick those up?
By the barber.
You didn't just take a pair of garden clippers and put tape around them.
No, they actually gave them to me.
That's insane.
He had like a suitcase full of them, and boom.
Wait, you showed up to meet the barber, right? You were there that
night, right? I was there that night. Yeah, we hung out with him for a little bit. And
that's right.
He had a couple poo-poo platter, peninsula platter, and
little bit of this, a little bit of that. Sit at the bar with the barber.
It was very good. Okay, so moving on from wrestling, because obviously we could sit here all day and talk wrestling, because it's like one of my like favorite things to do.
No, hell yeah.
So there's some sports things I want to get into in a little bit here, but there's a virtual eating competition happening tomorrow night.
Okay.
There's odds to bet on it.
That's good. We need odds on anything right now.
Literally. So this eating contest, though, do you know what they're actually eating? So it's like Joey Chestnut and Stoney and those people.
They bringing Kobayashi out of retirement for this?
No, but it'd be great if Kobayashi was like, I'll do it. Like, you know what I mean? I'd watch.
This isn't the burgers and fries,
no,
and chicken nuggets,
so
that thing.
This is all on Zoom.
Okay.
The first round is who can eat 2 pounds of bologna the fastest.
Oh,
bologna sucks.
Not a fan.
Now, when I go to the deli and it's like, yeah, let me get a pound of turkey, I could eat a pound of turkey, like, and put it all in one sandwich. I could do it.
Yeah.
Bologna, I can't do. I can't do bologna. So the over under is 69 seconds. Can you eat 2 pounds of bologna in 69 seconds? So I feel like they're going to be just fine, because isn't bologna like almost like a hot dog, or isn't it like So
it's a mishmash of meat.
There you go. So that's the first round. The second round, I believe, is a couple of trays of Oreos and then a gallon of milk.
Oh, that's beating.
Now I eat sleeves of Oreos like nothing.
No problem.
But it's the gallon of milk that I think could be tough.
Yeah, I think with any of these eating challenges, like I watched Jay King do the thing with the 4 burgers, the 2 fries, the 2 chicken nuggets, and the 4 Cokes. And like, what up, Pedro?
What up, Pedro?
Like I remember talking about it because I've had some eating exploits of my own in the day, and I was just like, it would be the Cokes that would kill me, particularly because I'm not really a soda drinker, so that much carbonation would just wreak havoc. Like so many bubbles in your belly, like that's just bad news.
So that McDonald's challenge that Jay King failed, I could definitely do. There's no doubt.
I feel like I could have done it outside of the soda situation. I don't know how that would have gone. I have no clue.
Yeah, and I crush soda. So I could. The other thing that they have to eat is 10 pounds of baked beans.
Oh,
the magical fruit.
You in or out on baked beans, Joe?
No, I like it. I like baked beans.
Yeah.
Only if I'm having hot dogs, though.
Okay.
I like canned baked beans with that little piece of fat in there.
Yeah, that's a Graham meal growing up. Graham had the hot dogs and beans.
I'd fight over the little piece of fat in there. And then the final one is cup of noodle soup.
No problem there. You got a little liquid though. Again, that could lead to unpredictability.
See, that's the thing. I love chowder, right?
Mm-hmm.
Where's the best place to get a chowder? I like Captain Parker's.
Captain Parker's very good. Very good. I wouldn't argue with that choice.
Could I eat? I don't know, a pound of chowder? Probably.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, a couple of pounds of chowder though.
But this is all about speed, right?
Exactly.
Yeah, and that's the issue because I'm an endurance eater. But as far as speed goes, like that's just dangerous. I don't want to be choking on anything. And frankly, if I'm going to be having that much food, I might as well enjoy it.
So, Sean, have you ever been in a competitive eating contest?
So, not like sanctioned. I remember when I was in high school, they did this thing at McDonald's, I think, where they had like it was Valentine's Day, and we had open campus lunch, so you could just go, down from South Yarmouth from DY High over to the McDonald's. And so I think they had a promotion. It was like 49 cents for a cheeseburger. So everyone was like, let's eat as many cheeseburgers as we can. And we got to 4 or 5 cheeseburgers. Everybody's out. And I'm still going. So people are giving me their cheeseburgers. So we had 20 minutes to be over there for lunch. So I ate my 8th. And then I had my 9th in the car going back to high school.
But these are the single patties.
Single patties.
Bread.
And bread. And then I had basketball practice 2 hours later. So that was kind of like the genesis of wow, Sylver's an eating machine. And then in college, you had Papa Gino's all you can eat nights. I used to beat everybody.
So you played basketball? Yeah,
I played hoops in high school. I stayed active in men's leagues pretty much up until my kid was born. And I don't know, not that it's an excuse necessarily, but when you got him, you got the job at the hub. You're working a 9 to 5. I was trying to get into Cambridge for this league. So, I mean, it was a lot, but I know you played the hoops. I know you were down low.
I had a photo sent over to me by mom.
Oh, that's fantastic. By the way, you would have fucked me up.
This is pre-tattoo. So I have a bad tattoo on that arm now. And no beard. Look at these sideburns, dude.
Got some stubble there.
And then I'm wearing an ice chain. Remember those ice chains?
Is that like diamond cut or something? What's
yeah,
going on with it?
exactly. Yeah.
Yeah,
Like everyone had the ice back in the day. That's what
I had one of those where it was sterling silver.
Wow. But look at the hair.
Yeah, man. That's nice. No, you would have. I was so in high school, I think I was like 6'4", like a $195, just a rail. I mean, I'm not much more than that now, but like you would just totally fucked me up. I survived on like just elbows and length. That was all I had.
The Job podcast. Holy shit.
No way.
Wouldn't fuck with that guy.
No way.
That couldn't be my wrestling moniker though. I have one more if we could just share it quickly. This one here. Let me get rid of this.
Where are you in that pile?
I am on top of the pile. So I am the large man. So I think one guy couldn't get him down. And then I just kind of cleaned up there. That's all I got for that one there.
Yeah, not a football player here, Joe. At my slight build, I played. The other sport I played was actually tennis. I was all
Dude, I love
tennis.
I love tennis.
I was like Gordon Hayward, baby.
Dude, I love tennis. Andre Agassi growing up.
Yeah.
Yvonne Lendl, Snapple. Boris Becker,
Pete Sampras,
Jim Courier.
You had
Boris Becker yet?
Michael Chang. Yeah,
Michael Chang.
I was a Stefan Edberg guy.
Ooh.
Loved him.
Arancha Sanchez Vicario.
Oh man, and then the women's game, you had Steffi Graf, Monica Seles,
Martina Navratilova.
Mm-hmm. Oh, and you can't
Seles.
Gabriella Sabatini. I got a pair of pliers here, by the way. I don't know why I'm in the basement. So
what happened to tennis? Like we knew everybody back then. Like now it's like Djokovic. It's
the same guys and girls, and it's crazy because they used to retire at like 30. I don't know if this is training or whatever, but like these guys play forever. It used to be, a women's tennis player would be washed up at like 25. A men's player might play till like 27 or 28. Now these people are playing till like 37, 38 years old. It's nuts.
And John McEnroe,
Jimmy Connors. They used to bring total Cape Cod thing, right? They used to bring like the Legends tennis tour down to the Cape. They play at a country club. I saw Jimmy Connors one year, and Bjorn Borg actually.
What's it called? When I used to go to summer camp, and it was like in the city of Boston, and we'd go see the Boston Lobsters.
Oh, there you go. Yeah, World Team Tennis.
Yep. And I'm trying to think who we saw once. Oh my God, who was it? Oh, I think it was. It might have been Agassi. I want to say
the 90s.
Yeah, and then Chichi Rodriguez came for like a golf thing.
There you go.
He like did the thing with the putter.
That was fascinating.
Michael Chang had the sick pumps.
He did.
But they all had like hot girlfriends, right? All of them were like they all
still do.
It's kind of like NASCAR, with chicks. Scott Sudikoff checking in. You'd love the WrestleMania 6 podcast. Go listen to it on Just Another Wrestling Podcast. So
Scott Sudikoff, a competitor for the 98.5 The Sports Sub Dream Job contest back in 2014. Sudikoff was in there as well. There's a polished kid. That guy's a talent.
Yeah, it's great.
I don't know how the hell I beat him, but
great play-by-play, man.
Yeah.
Now we just need games.
Yes, we all need games.
When do we get games again, Sean Sylver?
I don't know. I mean, I'm hearing about this golf tournament they're going to try in June. I guess that means that the whole Tiger, Phil, Brady, Manning thing is out. But I'm curious if like SummerSlam is still going to be on. I'm willing to sit this out. Some people like Lift Shats, I see him on Twitter just bitching and complaining about having to watch old games. And I love Dan, and Dan's your boy, obviously. But, like, I could watch old games forever. I don't care about knowing the results. I get the feels. Like, give me an old Celtics game. Give me Reggie Lewis. Give me the big three. Give me even the shitty, mid to late 90s Celtics with freaking Patino. I'll go and root for, Andrew DeClerc. I don't care. Like, I don't care, man. Just – like I can get my fill. I'll be all right. I'll hang tight here. I know some people are going wild. They don't have wagering right now. There's all kinds of logistical issues. And even if we do get sports back, like, do we have fans? Like, are you asking these players to be away from their families just so they can play sports? Because that's the whole thing about social distancing and quarantine is you're not seeing other people. You're not putting yourself in these situations. So I don't know. It's just a strange time. I'm lucky that I got everything I need right here in the house, so it's all good.
Okay, so what happened with Ray Allen on the Cedric Maxwell podcast?
So apparently Ray said what everybody needed to hear. Is just that, these, and to paraphrase, that he's just, and I don't think this has never been about Ray like calling people out. It's always solicited. It's always when somebody asks him about the experience, and Ray was just like, this is bullshit. These guys, are being a bunch of babies. And by, I mean, these guys, I mean, the rest of the Celtics. And I get it. Like, team relationships are a really important thing. But like, Ray Allen gave 5 really good years to the Celtics. He was a key part of that 2008 team. He was a key part of that 2010 team. Like, even in 2009, when KG went down, some of the games against the Bulls in that first round series that he did. And then in 2012, his freaking ankles were falling apart. They put Avery Bradley in the starting lineup. They signed Jason Terry during the summer. And Ray Allen's like, well, apparently I don't have a home here anymore. He goes and signs with the Heat. Everybody fucking hated that, of course. But like, the guy was great when he was here. He was a winner. He was a class act. And then he goes to Miami. He won another title. But nobody could get over that shit. And it's just, it has bothered me for years. It has bothered me for years that people hate on Ray Allen so much. Can you tell I'm getting fired up right now?
Yeah, well, check this out. So I had Michael Conley on the other day. He's formerly the Herald, the author. Yeah. I go way back with him. And he looked at Kevin Garnett's career and why, where he ranks on it for Celtics.
Yeah.
He's 22nd all time for like season stats. Like for career stats. His career stats with the Celtics is 15.9 points per game and 8 rebounds. Mm-hmm. Those are the same numbers that Dino Bravo put up.
Yeah, I mean, different part of their career, obviously. Like, and KG wasn't being asked to do a whole lot. I think, just off the cuff, I think that year that he came to the Celtics, he averaged 18.8 points per game in 2008. He still got third in the MVP voting.
And all the other intangibles.
Yeah, exactly. Like, he wasn't being asked to do a whole ton. Even his defensive stats didn't leap off the page, but it was more that he worked in the system than he put up these huge numbers. So, Ray, they just won, and they won games. If it was like 83-80, they'd still win the freaking game. So, like, I don't know, that was a fun era. I choose to look back on it happily, but a lot of people just choose to get pissed off about Ray Allen. I guess because it gives them something to yell about, and that's fine. We all need a release.
We shouldn't expect Ray Allen at the Kevin Garnett retirement ceremony.
Apparently not. I mean, and I love I love KG. I freaking love Rondo. Like I say, talking about watching old games, like I get the feels watching these guys, like just do their thing. Mm. But and I don't understand. I'm not a pro athlete. What these relationships are like. Obviously, there are beefs and squabbles, and there's loyalty. That big word. So, I don't know what it's all about and how these guys feel. I'm still going to love each player, though, individually, and just choose to look past the fact that these guys have, for almost a decade now, just been acting like kids. Act like little kids.
Yeah.
Going to see the Palace.
Oh, man, I should get him on the podcast. No,
hey, that would be great. I would fully encourage that.
Call me trash. Jason Tatum hasn't picked up a basketball since the pandemic has begun. I understand, like they took down the hoops in my neighborhood.
Really?
I can't play basketball anywhere right now. Because they don't want people like playing.
But like, what's Jason Tatum's deal? Where does he live? Like, does he live around Boston, or is he like back in St. Louis right now, or does he live somewhere else?
I don't know, but like, you don't have I would sleep with a basketball if I was a basketball player.
3rd overall pick. He's in his 3rd year. I'm trying to think of what the rookie scale is. Like, he probably has enough money to have, he's got that Honeydew Donuts commercial, right? He's got some cash. He could have a hoop. I don't get it.
Yeah, me either.
Unless he lives in like some apartment building, and but like you could pay somebody to be like, hey, would you open up the gym at the Jones was talking about this last night. Could you open up the gym at the elementary school? My freaking buddy Andy in Melrose used to get some guy to open up a gym. We would play hoops every Friday night.
Yeah, same thing. I'd go to the Runkle school in Brookline.
There you go.
And somehow play indoors there. Shout out to the Runkle. And did you watch the horse tournament at all?
No, I heard the video quality was terrible. I mean, it's a great idea. Like, we got to think outside the box in this day and age. Who wound up winning the horse tournament?
Not yet. It's a finals. Yeah.
Okay, so I got to check that out.
Yeah, I think there's another round tonight. Paul Pierce sucked.
Yeah, he's been out of the game a while. I mean, that's probably to be. But were there any other retired players in it? I really didn't pay attention.
Chauncey Billups.
Okay, Mr. Big Shot.
Yep, he was in there.
Rick Pitino's folly.
What do you think about this Jordan documentary coming out this weekend?
Out.
What?
Out. Already enough ink has been spilled and breath has been wasted on Michael Jordan's career. I don't think there's anything else that you can teach me at this point. And I don't need someone who's universally known as the greatest of all time to be shoved down my throat, particularly when the documentary series starts on my birthday, April 19th. I'm not sharing my birthday with you, Michael Jordan. I'm not sharing with you. Bird was better. Celtics are better than the Bulls. Suck it.
Wow. Wow, dude.
I hated the Bulls in the 90s. I can respect Jordan's legacy, but I don't need people to just go on and 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 on about Michael Jordan. I mean, the thing that he was best at was not shooting a basketball. It's being a businessman and having a freaking Teflon legacy. And he's lucky that he wasn't a player in today's day and age when the media could follow you everywhere and figure out all the shady shit that he did. So he's very fortunate.
I've asked every guest we've had this week, better dynasty, Bulls or Patriots?
They each have their place, Joe.
No, I need an answer.
Okay. I mean, obviously Patriots. It's a 20-year span. It's a 20-year span. The Bulls, I mean, if Jordan hadn't retired, if there weren't the squabbles that caused the team to fracture apart.
What would have been if Jordan didn't retire?
What, 8 straight championships? Do you think it would have been 8 straight?
Nobody was going to beat Jordan. Nobody.
Do you think it would have been 8 straight though? 8 straight? That's a lot of games. You got to factor in injuries. I mean, he got to take a year and a half off. He got to film Space Jam. He got to go play baseball and use other muscles in his body, than the ones that are used for playing basketball. Who knows what would have happened out there? I mean, yeah. Rockets, Bulls, I guess you'd have to go Bulls at that time, but there's just so many variables and factors. They couldn't get back past the bad boy Pistons. They couldn't get past the Patrick Ewing Knicks, for a couple of years there, and then finally they broke through. They went on this crazy run, and everybody's ego got the best of them at the end. So, which apparently is what this documentary is going to tell me again. I'll take the Patriots with 20 years, putting egos in check. Different players and the roles that they contributed. The fact that none of those guys came into that team, think about the players. Like, you got some first round picks in the mix there, but Michael Jordan was, like the number 3 pick. Tom Brady was a 6th round pick. Like, I mean, the Patriots took unsung heroes and freaking went to the max year after year after year after year. And Scottie Pippen was an unsung hero. And Dennis Rodman was, I think like a 4th round pick or something of the Pistons. And it had established himself as an all-defensive team player and an all-star by the time he made it to the Bulls. But Tony Kukoc was one of the best players in Europe. Like, the Bulls were freaking loaded, man. Give me the Patriots. Give me the coming out of nowhere. Give me the 20 years, not 6. Give me 20.
All right. And then finally, the Patriots Hall of Fame list. Just for the Patriots Hall of Fame, the finalists are Richard Seymour, Mike Vrabel, Logan Mankins, Wes Welker. I know Bill Parcells is on that list. Who would be your finalist for this year?
Give me the tuna. Who knows how long the tuna is going to be around for? Have he and Kraft patched things up yet? I mean,
I think so.
So then why not? I mean, all these other guys, Lord willing, are going to be around for a little while for their moment in the sun. I think Richard Seymour is a great pick. I think Vrabel would be a great pick. Give me the tuna. Like him and Drew Bledsoe and Bob Kraft, were the original mega powers of New England football. They saved this team from going out of town. They freaking saved football in New England. We wouldn't have had any of this shit without the three of them. So,
wow.
no, seriously, man.
You're giving like these are hot takes. I like them.
Okay, well, I'm pent up, Joe. You know, first they tell me that my hours are cut, and I'm like, all right, cool. Well, I'll get to concentrate on the stuff that I really want to do. And then they tell me that there's no programming anymore, and ain't nobody taking a vacation, so I don't get to work.
Yeah.
I'm pent up.
Yeah,
I've been doing radio for 5 straight years on the #1 sports radio station in the goddamn country. Fuck you, WFAN. And now I don't get to do it anymore. I'm pent up, Joe.
Yep, I get you. I'm lucky, man. I think you mentioned that podcast that we did. Thank God DraftKings came in and paid the bill for the year, or else I'd be on my ass too. So, but I work an hour and a half a week. Hour and a half. So, I'll take it. The ride in and home is a little longer, but whatever. Anyways, Caesars has the Bucks at 9 wins, Patriots at 8.5 this year. Over under each. What would you do with the Bucks? What would you do with the Pats?
I would go over for both, but I feel like neither of those teams is going to win, like much more than, I'd probably say 10 games for each team. I feel like the Patriots can kind of figure out a way to make it work to a 9 or 10 win season. There's obviously a lot of things that haven't been figured out there with the roster construction. And I feel like the Bucks with Brady, they're going to be all right, but Brady wasn't winning. That's the thing about this. Brady wasn't winning the Patriots a championship here this year. So he'll go to Tampa and he won't win them a championship there, or maybe even, advance them in the playoffs there. I mean, it's all fine and good. His legacy is secure. This is like Joe Montana on the Chiefs. Joe Montana did get the Chiefs to it in an AFC championship game, though. So,
I do want to ask you about some Milt Schmidt stories coming up in a little bit.
Yeah.
But this segment here, we're going to do a little bit of Murray's musings with Sean Sylver, of course.
Want to take a walk with me? I'm just going to get my computer power cord here. You can see what's actually going on in the basement. Shelves, wires hanging down.
I'll kind of take over for a little bit while you do that. So, Murray's musings. We don't need the music. You want a random take. Murray's got all sorts on stuff in the world unrelated to sports. So sit back, relax, and get your mind in the game and listen to an old man complain. Okay, great. So a guy went to an ATM machine the other day, and he went to go pull out money. And when he went to the ATM machine, he goes to his available balance, and he saw that there was $1.8 million in his bank account. And if I saw $1.8 million in the bank account, I'd fucking fall over first. Okay, and then I would hit cancel, and then I'd get my card back, and then I would put it back in. I'd put it back in. I'd put in the PIN codes again, and then I would see, and then I'd take my card out again, and then I'd go to my phone just to make sure that there were two different sources to show me that to show me that shit's real. So this guy found $1.8 million in his bank account. Come to find out, the bank made a mistake. I feel like that guy should be entitled to that $1.8 million because they made that mistake. That's how I feel. Or, I don't know, a portion of what happened in there. The hell is going on in that house?
Sorry about that, Joe.
That was like a. What are you going up the stairs?
Oh no, I'm with you on that. Bank error.
Yeah, the guy should be getting a piece of the pie there.
I am all for the bank error winding up in favor of the bank customer, because God knows that the bank has enough already. I mean, 1.8 million. I was gonna say, was there an error in stimulus check dispensation where that guy just got a bunch of people's stimulus checks all went to the same guy?
It all just went to him. He must have been really stimulated, if you ask me.
I would have been too. Oh my God. Oh yeah. I sorry, I had to walk around the house. I got this computer is wired because I didn't want to be on the Wi-Fi with any potential. So that was me.
It's the best you've looked the whole podcast.
All right, nice. That was me walking around the house, walking up and down the basement stairs with a 30-foot Ethernet cable following me around. So that was the noise.
Moving on, Murray's Musics. Jay Glazer was teasing this report, okay? Oh, I got something juicy. Oh, wait, it's going to be a player was found with coronavirus.
Yeah, I mean, that's big news. But it's just, it's look at me journalism. That's what everything is now. I got a hot take. I got a big scoop.
He had to be the first to announce that, though?
I don't know. I respect, Jay Glazer's had a fantastic career, but it's just more like, hey, people need eyeballs on him, baby.
I know, especially during a time like this. We need relevancy.
Right. Yeah. We're not paying attention to you as we normally would. So he's trying to figure something out. I don't know.
All right. This other one came out yesterday. Mario Lopez and Elizabeth Berkley are returning to Bayside's Saved by the Bell in a reboot that they're doing.
Just the two of them, not the whole cast?
So Saved by the Bell stars Mario Lopez. They reprised their roles as AC Slater and Jesse Spano, and this was in a teaser. When the reboot premieres, California Governor Zach Morris will find himself in trouble for closing too many low-income high schools and then propose that the affected students be sent to the highest performing schools in the state, including Bayside High. The influx of new students will give the overprivileged Bayside kids a much-needed dose of reality.
Is Belding still an administrator there? That's what I want to know.
I don't know. There are lots of new faces, they said. I'm trying to think here. Longtime love Kelly Kapowski is in this.
It sounds like to me that they're going to try and do this like they did the Boy Meets World reboot. So they did like Girl Meets World, where you had like Corey and Topanga were characters. You had cameos from like Mr. Feeney and stuff, Sean and people like that. But it was mostly centered around the daughter of Corey Matthews. So in this case, you're centering around a new crop of high school students. I don't know. I mean, I don't know. Like, or you could go the Fuller House route, which is when they rebooted Full House and we're just like, here's Stephanie DJ and frickin' Kimmy Gibbler all living together. And you completely sell out to the nostalgia and don't really introduce all that many new characters other than their kids. So I don't know. I mean, there's a couple of ways you could go with that. I wasn't the biggest Saved by the Bell fan, really, to be honest. And I know that's an unpopular take, probably. But
well, what'd you like growing up?
I don't know. I mean, I watched everything. I watched a lot of old people shows with my nan, but like coming home from school and in the afternoon stuff. I mean, there was
I had DuckTales.
Yeah, I mean, you could choose from a whole lot of stuff, and I never felt like.
Where in the World is Carmen Sandiego? Growing Pains.
Yep. A lot of stuff in syndication. But
Mighty Morphin Power Rangers.
Oh God. Yeah, you had your Fox Kids, you had like Pinky and the Brain, Animaniacs.
Oh no, it was great with Tiny Toon Adventures.
Tiny Toon Adventures, right?
That's a great song.
Oh,
we're
yeah.
Tiny, we're toony.
We're all a little loony. And this cartoony, we're invading your TV.
That was the shit. That was the shit, that show.
They need to bring that back. I would watch that with Will any day. I'm going to pick up a DVD. I'm going to go on eBay right now. That's what I've been doing. I went on eBay. I bought the first 3 seasons of the Fresh Prince DVDs. And we've been watching the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air with dinner every night.
Wow.
That's what we're that's our binge.
I was told I look like an Uncle Phil.
Well, that would be an honor. I mean, Uncle Phil was a wise man.
I like when he dances, or when he goes to the pool hall and he's like,
when he hustles him,
and he goes, Jeffrey, go get Bertha or whatever it is.
Lucille. Bring me Lucille.
Bring me. And he just starts like dancing. He's like playing pool, but he's like, moving
Yeah, was
around.
it like Soul Man or like a Sam and Dave song? I think he was getting down to.
Yep. He always threw Jeffrey. Not Jeffrey. Jazz
out of the house.
I was a big fan. I was a big fan of the. I used to watch that when it was live every week.
You know what I'll say too. that holds up well.
Sean, you should be watching Periscope during dinner, says the Real Brick.
What does that mean? I want some details. Is there something that I'm missing out on? I know the Real Brick is playing like Call of Duty or something. I'm gonna text chain with Brick and a few other undesirables, and they're talking about all their Call of Duty and these modern video games that I have no fucking idea how to play. So
yeah, I haven't played a video game. I still have PlayStation 2 here, and I don't even know if it works. Like I have Madden, and it's like Lawrence Maroney's the running back of the pass. There you go.
What's happening, baby?
That's all I have. I don't have anything else. I want to get like a PlayStation 4. I just don't know. No, I wouldn't even know the old. See that they have to still blow on it.
That's what she said. We were talking wrestling earlier. The picture I have with Jake the Snake.
Yeah,
I'm like cracking up because Jake had signed. I had this old WWF magazine. You remember those that I brought?
Yeah, Vince Russo.
Yeah, so I'd saved it from it was like from 1990. I had that and a few other programs and other stuff. It's all down here. So I had this Jake WWF magazine. I had him sign it. He signed it green pen, and I said something about do you have to blow on it or whatever? And then he pulls a "That's what she said" right as they're taking the picture. So like Jake is just doing a normal pose. I'm like, because Jake Roberts dropped the best "That's what she said."
Jake the Snake Roberts now in AEW, and he is with Lance Storm, who beat Colt Cabana last night on AEW, for those who didn't watch.
Lance Archer, right?
Lance Archer. Who did I say?
You said Lance Storm. Also a fine wrestler.
Oh, yeah, Lance Archer. Whoa. Whoa, I got my lances screwed up there.
That's what she said.
We're allowed 3 of those a podcast, and we're at 2 already.
All right,
let's see what else I got here. I wrote some things for a rundown. Oh, we're gonna do quarantine in a minute, stuff you've been doing during your quarantine. But Milt Schmidt, you wrote a great story. You spent a lot of time with the man, somewhat of a family member to you, one of the oldest living Bruins of all time.
Yeah.
Not to mention, dude, the line that he played on. I saw this stat the other day, and Michael Conley had it. That line, everyone on that line scored over 200 goals. And I forget who the third of the 3 were, but
you had Milt Schmidt, Woody Dumart, and Bobby Bauer. That was a Kraut line.
Yep.
Because they were all of German descent. But that was in the day when you had 48 game NHL seasons. So it's none of this shit. Like, remember when Claude Julien got the record for the most wins for a Bruins coach?
Yeah.
It's like, well, he beat Art Ross for the record because Art Ross was coaching 48 game seasons. So the NHL was a lot different back then. Not only was it a lot more brutal, you didn't have the pads, you didn't have helmets, you didn't have the medical techniques or training or anything that you have now, but it was also a 48 game season. So you couldn't compile the stats like you do now. But yeah, Milt, the relation is that, my wife's grandmother and Milt were companions for about 20 years at the end of their lives. So Milt lived to 98, and my wife's grandmother lived to 96. So Milt passed in 2017. That's when I wrote that. I've been sharing a lot of old stuff that I wrote just because it's like, I mean, what else is there right now to do? So I tweeted it out, and he was great. Like, I mean, I met him in his 90s, obviously, but, he was old time hockey personified. He was a guy who had seen everything, known everybody, done everything, MVP, 2 Stanley Cups. And just, had this amazing career, Hockey Hall of Fame. He didn't censor his opinions on owners, on players today and how much money they got, on goons. He hated goons, obviously, guys who just were in there to hurt people. But he had a lot of great stories, and one of them was basically like Maurice Richard, the Rocket, one of the greatest hockey players of all time. He's like a saint in Canada. He cross-checked Milt, like broke his nose or broke a tooth or something like that. So Milt goes down to the locker room, gets fixed up, goes back in the game, as of course they always do because they're hockey players and they're tough as nails. And first chance he gets, he goes right at Richard, cleans him out. Maurice gets up and goes, "Why you do that, Milt?" In his French accent. And Milt just goes, "Because you do this." Cross checks the hell out of him. Big fight starts. And that was Milt Schmidt. He didn't take shit from anybody. He was just generally true to his principles, and that was the way he is. I mean, I was hanging out with him around family and stuff, so he didn't censor his opinions, but maybe he censored some of the colorful language or ways of explaining those things. But just stories about like Eddie Shore was just a huge dickhead. At the beginning of his career, and Milt came up as an 18-year-old kid, and Eddie Shore, who's a legend in hockey, told him that he'd never make it. And then Dick Clapper, also Hockey Hall of Famer, got wind of the fact that Eddie Shore was being mean to 18-year-old Milt Schmidt and told him off. Eddie Shore never bothered him again. It's just like, these are legends. These are people who, like if you're a hockey fan, if you're really into the sport, like they're the gods of the sport. And Milt knew them from those guys who played in the 20s and 30s to signing Bobby Orr, to being the general manager of the team, being the coach of the team, and then the GM of the team that won the 70 and 72 Stanley Cups. So just incredible stories from Milt. So he was the man.
People can find that somewhere on the interwebs.
Yeah, it's on my Medium page. If you go to my Twitter, as Joe has it up right there, you'll see a Medium is
like that show with thinking like remember you ever watch The Sopranos when Paulie goes to see the medium and it's like, I can see the guy you killed 30 years ago, like that.
No, Medium is it's kind of like WordPress.
Okay.
It's kind of like a blogging website. So all the old stuff I've written, like I wrote some, actually I'm working on this during quarantine. I wrote some stuff for Disney a number of years ago that actually I wrote for their website, kind of freelanced for a little while, but that website no longer exists. So I'm just taking matters into my own hands because I still want my work to be on the internet. So some stuff I wrote for Yahoo's up on there that's been taken down. Various blogs that I've had over the years, stuff I wrote when I was working with Mac and Goo on things. So yeah, it's all on my Medium page that's linked on my Twitter.
At the Sylver Fox. We'll wrap it up quick with my favorite part of the show. And I call it quarantine. We're stuck in our house and have nothing to do anymore. Quarantine. Gonna ash on Sylver some stories we don't even know. Okay, so I'll stop. Quarantine. Food you have binged on the most during quarantine.
Joe, I'm losing weight. So
Me too. I don't how does that happen?
Well, I mean, I look at it this way. Anybody who works with me at my 9 to 5 knows that I got a desk drawer that's just full of snacks. So I'm munching on, Pringles, Pop-Tarts, combos, eat bowls of cereal just all day long. Yeah, that's what gets me through working in a cubicle. So now that I'm home, there's obviously not limited access to grocery stores, but I'm not trying to go out shopping a whole lot right now. So we kind of have what we have. My wife does not buy any of the things that I just listed, which is smart. So I'm eating, bananas and stuff like that, apples. But yeah, I mean that's just generally what's going on right now with the diet.
Any of your rap freestyles on the Medium page?
No, and the website that I used to have them on, rapmusic.com, I don't think it's an active website anymore. But the S.Fox is no longer, no raps are online.
What TV show or movie have you been watching during quarantine?
Fresh Prince. Like I said, I want to get around to Dark Side of the Ring. and eventually I'll probably get tired of old games at some point and want some fresh content. So I'll go looking around, but I'm not a big TV watcher. Like I said, I've been working on my basement. The weather's been all right. I've been working in my garden, doing a little home improvement.
Garden, you're a fence guy.
Yeah, man. You gotta
cutting down trees too.
Yeah, a little bit. I got a pine tree that needs to come down. Maybe I'll get around to that. So I got plenty of things. My kid only naps for 2 hours a day, so there's plenty of stuff, and obviously he sleeps too. But I just watched some Fresh Prince and whatever. So Community, a lot of that too. Catching up on Community. That's a good show.
Okay. First restaurant you will visit when you can finally go back out to eat.
Has the answer been universal with everybody else? Is Kowloon?
Yes, but Sarge had some different ones. He mentioned some local places. So
yeah, so the thing with Kowloon is, that's 50 minutes away, like 50, not 15. So as much as I love going
right now, no traffic though.
That's true.
For you could get there in 30.
Really? What am I driving a DeLorean, Joe?
You're driving a nice Ford, so you can get in that thing. Telling you.
Let me bring it up right now. But that's the thing. Yes. my wife and I love going to Kowloon. I loved going to Kowloon for years.
It's an experience, but
going there for takeout, that shit is cold by the time you get home, and I 50 minutes in the car, that's just not going to work.
So is there a local joint that you like?
Well, unfortunately, the local Chinese restaurant Lilac House in Millis, Massachusetts, is not open right now.
Have you been to the Lotus?
Lotus. There you go. 50 minutes.
Wow.
To get to Kowloon.
Even right now.
Yep. It's 42 miles, Joe. I love going there, but I don't live near it. I don't want to come home with cold food.
Google the Lotus in Millis.
Lotus in Millis.
Yes.
Okay. All right. I'll check that out. But yeah, we've been eating locally. Zoe mentions this place in Rentham called the Gavel. They have great burgers. We've been going there. We went to a local ice cream place recently and picked up a couple of quarts. So it's just hey man, just spread it around. Do the best you can with it. And I'll go to the Kowloon when this is all over. I'm also going to go to Idle Hands and go see J Deer and get some beer.
Yes.
So
what's your favorite frozen food all time?
Does ice cream count as a frozen food?
No.
Oh, okay.
Like me, I can't choose. I have Elio's, Hot Pockets, Tostino pizza rolls. What else is there? Oh, a DiGiorno pizza.
Okay.
French bread pizzas.
Okay. I loved Hot Pockets, but I don't really eat them anymore.
You're not a frozen food. What about a canned food?
I don't know. I don't really know. I will say, I saw the the Lotus is in Medway. I'm seeing a comment right now.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
So maybe I got Medway is not far. That's 10 minutes, so I can get over there. I saw the Barstool frozen pizza rankings, and I think the Freshetta pizzas got a really bad deal. I really liked those when I was living by myself, and frozen pizzas were a weekly thing. So Newman's Own is good too, I gotta say. So
that's funny. You can see those chats, huh?
I can see what chats are rolling, but
I didn't know that. That's good to know.
Yeah,
I only pull up the ones I want people to see.
I see Mace on the case right there. Yeah, Mace lives in Taunton, right? So
yeah,
that's a haul.
It's a good hike. Maybe
it's worth the hike, but
the Lotus is great. I've been there. I have done karaoke at the Lotus.
Sure, shit. We got to go to the Lotus.
I have sang "I love it when you call me Big Papa." At the Lotus.
I've seen a video of you doing that.
That was not at the Lotus, yes, that was very good. The Newman's Own, as you mentioned here. My cousin got arrested outside the. Okay, brother.
that's not going to get me to go to the Lotus. I'll tell you that much.
Again, the parental advisory. It came in handy during this podcast. And the last one I had for you, Sean.
Yeah.
Where do you see yourself in 5 years?
That's interesting. I don't know. I mean, from a personal perspective, whatever. I hope, my family, my friends are healthy through all this bullshit we're going through right now. And, 5 years from now, I'll be 42. I'll be 37 on Sunday. I'll be 42 5 years from now. So, I mean, I hope like personally, professionally, like things are well. I'm settled into the, I'm a dad thing now, and I'm a homeowner and whatever. So I'm very comfortable with that part of my life. I relish it. It's cool. But I am very fortunate that I get to have this part-time job where I get to do the Tom Petty and go running down a dream and do the sports media thing. So I hope I'm still at the hub. I hope you're there. I hope in 5 years, maybe we have a weekend show together, Joe.
Ooh, the Sylver and Joe.
Sylver and Joe. I think that Rick Radzik and Jim Louth would be wise to consider that combination. And then, I want to put myself out there more in terms of my writing, not just at 98.5, which again, the website's, it's good, like Matt and Ty and Alex Barth now on the team. McCarthy's written over there a lot. Like there's some good shit on that website, but I want to do some freelance. I want to try and get my sports writing out there a little more. I got some ideas for books maybe down the line. So we'll just kind of see how that all comes together. I'd love to, like 25 years from now, I'd like to be like staring down retirement and say, all right, today I'm going to work in my garden and I'm going to write. And there we go.
I want to run through your wicked garden. That's the place to find you. What else is a song about gardens? I would buy you a garden
where your flowers can bloom. I will buy you a new car.
Perfect
shiny and blue.
What are the songs about gardens?
Neil Young has a song called After the Garden that's pretty good. Trying to think.
I think that's all I have off the top of my head.
Songs about gardens. Wow. Yeah. Who knew we were going to be going there?
A Secret Garden.
Secret Garden by Bruce Springsteen, I guess. That was in Jerry Maguire, remember?
Oh, yeah.
Octopus's Garden by the Beatles. That's a jam. That's Ringo singing that one. And then I would also say something that happens a lot for me because I have a kid and I put him to bed and then I got to do shit in my yard. I got to water some plants. I got to do this or that. Gardening at Night by REM, one of their earliest singles.
And then we can't forget Savage Garden.
Oh, of course not.
Or Sound Garden.
Soundgarden, who I know you like, but they may not rank as highly as Alice in Chains for you.
Alice in Chains up here.
The top.
Up here. The first show, actually, the first Just Sittin Here show was actually dedicated to the Kurt Cobain and Lane Staley, the passings. It was the anniversary.
Yeah, that was
April 6th, 1994. And
then Lane was a bunch of years after that, though, right?
8 years later to the day, and then they found him like a couple days later. But they, yeah, and that's when I was like, oh shit, I'm going to do a podcast, and I just started ranting about stuff, and then I was like, you know what? I think I want to like get guys on with me, and like and that's kind of so.
You know what, Joe? I'm gonna do a podcast, and I'm gonna turn it around on you and ask you a bunch of questions sometime.
Thank you. I would. I got an answer for everything. I do.
That's and hey, being you and your line of work over the years, and just being Joe Murray, it's good to always have an answer for everything, right?
Sometimes it is.
Help you out in situations.
I'll have a musing for any event going on. So he is Sean Sylver. We did put Biggie or Tupac in the rundown, but we're gonna save that one.
Ooh.
We're going to save that one for maybe another day that we're on the air.
All right.
So that's a big market tease. So right now, no writing. Yeah, you're writing on your own. And
I'm working on actually, so since we're not doing like you and me aren't doing well, you're doing over under. But we're not doing usual weekend programming on the hub and we're playing classic games. I thought, why don't we highlight some of these games that are going to be played and get some stories or memories from people at the station, who maybe aren't getting to work on the air or be heard as much. So I know Mason hit me up last night. This weekend is the 2018 Eastern Conference Finals, Cavs and Celtics, which is a cool series. I think they're playing game one.
Jeff Green.
Oh yeah, well that was the big fuck you from Jeff Green at Game 7, but they're playing game one, which was actually a game that was okay.
Good, we were there every night, man. I was there every night for that
man. But so they're playing that game, and I'm just reaching out to some people about their memories of it, etc. Going to post that on the website, and then hopefully do that on a weekly basis.
Nice.
Yeah, just give some people a mouthpiece to talk about sports, because just like you're doing here. Because obviously we don't get to do that. We got a social distance. We're not going to the radio station. So
and Marshall Hook's come up with an idea. He started a YouTube channel called The Weekenders.
Yeah.
I'll be on this weekend. I think I'm on at 2:00
on Saturday.
Yeah. What time are you on?
2:00 Sunday.
Ooh, look at that. So we're getting a lot of reps this week.
Yeah.
We just did 2 hours of a podcast.
Could have done 4.
Okay, do we 5?
5.
We could
full 5Zs.
Could have done a full 5Zs tonight. And you know what they're doing on the night show? I tuned in the other night because Jones and Arcan are doing. I don't know how
God's work.
Jones is somehow making it a sports show still.
Yeah, they're keeping it interesting. It's crazy.
People shit on. All right, I want to get this one out of the way. People shit on Jones. They know what it is. Is he's smart. He's intelligent. He's creative. He looks at things in a different view. Like these people, like they call him like the Dark Knight, and like he's negative. Yeah. No, he looks at it with a different perspective, and I feel like it's like the most insightful thing at our station that like people just look at it as he's the Dark Knight. He's negative. No, listen to what he's saying. Like it's actually like outside the box talk.
Like
and he's like the best talk going at night.
He's insanely talented, and like the thing with Jones is, you can get tired of the shtick if you like look at it as a shtick, and just want to say if you just want to, like you said, if you want to hear it one way and just say, okay, Jones is being negative again. But Jones is also like really, really smart. He's like Ivy League of sports media, like smart. He can take an argument and we've all been there, and just put you in the freaking washing machine and spin you around where you don't know what the fuck you just said and if it's right or wrong or whatever. Because Jones is just that good at the art of debate, and he knows his stuff. So, I mean, major props to him. Like I've tuned into, the shows here and there, while we've been home, but I have the most time, I guess, to listen to the night show, because that's when I'm not trying to work and my kids asleep, and it's good. It's still good.
Where I was going with it was they're doing the dongless report. So however many nights they don't have a dong report. So like I think they're on like 16 now or 17. I forget what it is now.
We're gonna get some Sarge quotes in there. What
right? Or like famous number 16s. Who's the 16th president? Who was the 16th this? Like
perfect.
But like that is creative. Like that is because we all love the Dung report.
And I mean, and Jones, I gave props to him. Arcan's been great in that role, and fucking Jeremy, like he deserves, all the praise that he gets too, because he's excellent keeping that show running. So I mean, it's good, man. Like you gotta look for the bright spots at a time like this, and there definitely are some out there. Your podcast included. This has been a lot of fun for me. So
thank you, Sean. Appreciate the time today. I'm done. I have nothing else to add today. I will add this. I'm out in a minute here. I just want to before we let you go here. I just wanted to put up Czarface one more time.
Yes.
You can find Czarface. That's where you can hear Sean on there. And then I just wanted to pull this up. Let me pull this banner down for a second here.
Akeem.
So, yes, Akeem, the African Dream. So we had Matt McCarthy this week. We had Sean Sylver. And tomorrow we have Ryan Johnston of 98.5 The Sports Hub and Lowell WCAB, the Ryan Johnston Show.
There you go.
So I can't wait to ask him about the fight that happened between Tim Thomas that he got the call years ago. So
goalie fight
your boy Mason, well done
on the case.
Thanks, Mason.
Miss Mason.
Mace always on the case. So
Mace is gonna be with me on the Weekenders this weekend. So
boom. All right, we're at 159.15. That's it for me today. He is Sean Sylver at the Silver Fox. I'm back tomorrow with Ryan Johnston of 98.5 The Sports Hub. Again, follow on Spotify. You can listen in your car or on your phone. And also, everything will be on YouTube if you want to watch any of these videos as well. Also saved on Facebook Live and on Twitter and Periscope. I'm Joe Murray, just sitting here. We'll talk to you tomorrow at noon. I am out.